Welcome back, guys. So on the last video on the E46 M3, you saw us remove the engine and the gearbox out of the car, and we found 4 massive holes on the engine block. So in this video we are going to be continuing on with the build. You know, a lot of you guys want to see it. I saw all the comments in the last video, and a lot of you guys said, you know, carry on with the build. We really want to see you guys put this car back together. So we're going to be stripping this engine down. We'll remove the gearbox, we'll get the engine on an engine stand, and yeah, we'll just start stripping it apart. That way we can figure out just how bad the internal damage is. So, you know, we can make a decision on whether we want to get a new engine or we want to get replacement parts. So yeah, guys, before we carry on with this build, be sure to give the video a thumbs up, and yeah, let's get straight into it. So we got the engine placed onto the stand now. As well as that, the gearbox is all off. Once off, we had a quick inspection of the thrust bearing, which needs to be replaced. It's actually making a noise. Also, the clutch plate is fairly worn. There's a bit of oil on the gearbox, which shows the crank seal's been leaking. So what we'll do is we'll start from the top and start stripping it all the way down. We quickly spun the engine to make sure it's not seized up, considering it's lost a lot of oil. So yeah, it still spins, which is a good sign. So yeah, guys, let's just get straight into it and start stripping it down. We have pushed the BM backwards, so we got all the space to work in. We got all the cardboard laid down as well. That's because we're going to be stripping down the engine, and all the parts that come off, they will be going straight onto cardboard, so that way we don't lose no parts. So these over here, removing the AC pump, is that right? Yeah, so what we're doing is removing the AC pump, the power steering pump, and also the alternator. The reason why we're moving them now is because the engine is slightly on angle. I mean, there's a lot of strain on the stand. So, I mean, it's a heavy engine, it's a straight 6. We already made a start on it. We removed the engine cover and also the inlet manifold as well.
So here's the next day, guys. As you can see, we removed both sides of the engines. All the components on both sides have all been removed. I did mention before in the previous video that the conrod, the valve might have dropped onto the conrod for it to break, but both of the valves are still intact. The exhaust valves, and as well as that, the intake valves are still intact as well. So that is quite weird. So now operation is complete on the outside. Now we can start, operating on the inside side, removing all the rocker cover.
So we just removed the cylinder head, and as you guys can see, we've got a bit of an issue. So all these valves are nice and flush and they're sat properly, but these two valves right here, guys, there's a massive gap on the back side of the valves. The rest of them are fine, it's just these two here that are not sat right.
The valves have come out and the pistons hit up against it, so it's actually bent the valves. There's a way of actually testing them to make sure they're not actually bent. So what we'll do later on the next video probably is put the spark plugs back in, turn it the other way, and just put petrol all along here, fill it to the top and leave it for a few hours. If it does go down, that means we've got a leaking valve, and if it don't go down, that means it's fine. So that's another way of testing if you got a leaking valve, but straight away you can tell from them two, they actually bent, they will need to be replaced.
So this is the top of the piston heads, guys. I'll give you a side-by-side comparison. So this is the one that's basically caused all the damage, and if you look at this one here, guys, this one's perfectly fine. These grooves are along the bottom just here, and then you got the grooves at the top as well. But if you look at this one here, guys, it has rotated, so you got the grooves on the left side and on the right side as well. And not only that, you can see where the valves have been hitting against the piston, so you've got all this fresh metal just along the bottom and along the top just there as well.
So there's a lock pin that holds the piston and the conrod into place. So I think that could be detached, and that's what's caused all this chaos. So we are pretty much done from the top. The only thing that's actually left is removing the head gasket, which is this piece right here, and also the chain guide. Once you remove the head gasket, the chain guide will come straight out. Then what we'll do is we'll flip the engine the other way and start removing the sump.
So we just got done finishing off stripping down the engine, guys, and we've got it pretty much down to the actual cracked block itself. We've got everything laid out nicely, so we know exactly what parts we need. Z, do you want to give a rundown of what we need?
Yeah, so the first things obviously that we need is a block. As well as that, we need a conrod, new bearing, full bearing kit, head gasket, basically a full engine seal kit. As well as that, we need to get the valves and also get this checked. And also the crankshaft might be warped, so we'll send that off for repairs or get it checked to make sure it's not warped. We got a pipe here, oil pick pipe, and also the sump as well. As well as that, there's loads of other things I've not mentioned that we need to get as well. We could have bought another engine, but there's no fun in that, guys. This is the fun where, you know, split everything apart and, you know, looking for parts, you know, getting everything new and rebuilding it all back up.
So I guess we'll see you next year. So it's goodbye for now, and Happy New Year, guys, and we'll see you next year.